If we flipped the pricing around and we said,
it'd be much better than what we've got right now. And just to put 2 screens in is $10,000.
Wow.
You can buy them for $10,000.
Less.
If you had a glitch in the morning, the day was destroyed.
Every industry has a moment when it has to confront its own outdated systems. Welcome to Full Resolution. For years, Hospitality AV has operated on a model built around rentals, line items, and complexity. We helped build that system, and now we're here to challenge it. There's a clearer, smarter approach rooted in ownership, operational efficiency, and real revenue growth. Join us, and let's get this movement started.
Welcome back to Full Resolution. I'm Chirag Patel.
and I'm Martin Kwitschau. And today, we're blessed by having in the studio with us somebody whose career has spanned over 40 years in the hospitality industry, Patrick Donelly. Patrick, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Martin. Sure.
Patrick, why don't you walk us through the arc of your career? I mean, over 40 years, that's a long time. And ultimately, that career landed you at Hyatt Regency Chicago. Just give us a sense of where you've been and what you've done over that period of time.
Okay, well, first I started off in South Africa. That was 50 years ago. Did 10 years in different hotels there, 3 hotels. And then I immigrated to America in 1986. And the reason I came to America was I sent myself to Cornell University in 1984. And I immigrated here with my wife who had never been. And we started off actually in Reno, Nevada. Everywhere I went, there was just no shot of getting a job. So I played my resume down from where I was in South Africa to basically just a banquet manager. And then Hyatt was the unfortunate person who got my graces in 1986. And I started there, and my travels took me from San Francisco, Reno, San Francisco, San Antonio, Palm Springs, San Francisco again, back to Chicago, Knoxville, Tennessee to Milwaukee to O'Hare, and then, of course, back to Chicago. So downtown. So I've been in this hotel now for 20 years as the boss.
That's amazing. And, we're, like I said, we're genuinely thankful to have you on the podcast today.
No problem.
Yeah. And Patrick, along that illustrious career, what was the scale of events you were overseeing on a regular basis?
Well, when I very first started off, I was with an overhead projector that I had to go and collect from somebody, set it up, which was like traumatic. And then it was a reel-to-reel movie. And that was how we started off. And then coming to America, things were totally different because there was an audiovisual company. We'd never heard of an audiovisual company before. I'd never. And I started off in that hotel. A ballroom could take, I think, 250 people at the airport hotel. Went on to 1,000 people in San Antonio, to 1,400 people in San Francisco airport. And then, of course, Chicago. Obviously, because I was growing my career from a food and beverage director up to a general manager. The events in Chicago, we have a ballroom that can seat 2,200 people for dinner, one that can seat 1,600 for dinner, one can seat 800 for dinner, another one for 250, and then we have an exhibit hall that can seat 5,500 people for a dinner. And obviously, we have 150 odd meeting rooms, 125 suites in the hotel. The volumes, when you come to HRC, the biggest hotel in our system in the world, are just mind-boggling when you first get here.
In those various cities and hotels that you worked in your career, and knowing that there was an audiovisual supplier, really a third-party contractor, if you will. As you walked into the ballroom or the meeting space the morning of a major event, what was going through your mind, knowing that you actually didn't have full ownership like you do of all the other assets and departments in the hotel?
Well, let me put it this way. I had a problem in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I flipped out the company immediately. I had a problem in Milwaukee, and I flipped out the company. I had a problem at O'Hare, and I flipped out the company. And I had no problems doing it because my belief was I come to work normally 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:30. And my first thing when I was a junior manager was to always look at banquets and to make sure we were set up, because if you had a glitch in the morning, the day was destroyed. In this hotel, being the largest, if you have a glitch here, it's not a glitch, it's a monumental cost, and your recovery is zero. I mean, you don't have time to fail before the day.
So, Patrick, you and I have had many discussions about getting away from vendor A and vendor B to maybe getting away from model A and going to model B, and model B being a more permanently installed situation where the rub of line item pricing gets removed, and we work more in the realm of maybe per attendee pricing, thereby the customers don't always feel as nickeled and dimed as they are today. When you think about the previous conversations we've had about that and the operations you've been a part of in your past, you know, what are just your feelings off the top of your head on maybe how that old model didn't evolve, and how now might be the time for there to be an evolution in the AV industry?
I don't think it's time to have an evolution. I think we're 10 years beyond it. I mean, it's that desperate. The number one complaint we have as a hotel and our meeting planners is the cost of audiovisual. Because you can't understand it. I mean, I know in Milwaukee, I had Bedwars in Milwaukee. They had their convention at the stadium the year before, and they got the audiovisual bill. I'll never forget it. The audiovisual bill was $96,000, and they thought that was crazy. They came to the hotel the next year, and it was $295,000. It was what the cost of the convention was. I never could understand it at that point, and now we're talking that's 26, 27 years ago. When I listen to my salespeople here in the hotel, all I hear is audiovisual, non-flexible, the cost, the pricing, and it's a turnoff for the customer.
Would you say that it was costing you as the hotel event-based business due to this?
Plenty. Yeah, we've got an event coming up on the 4th of May with the police. And just to put 2 screens in is $10,000. It's like 2 screens. You can buy them for $10,000. And so I don't understand the pricing. I don't understand what goes into that technology, that it costs that amount of money. But I do know that screen that somebody's paying $10,000 for has been used maybe 250 times before. So what are they paying for? I mean, it doesn't make sense to me.
So would you argue then that you would like more control of the situation, and not just control, but a better product than just a screen that has a projector on it versus a bright, beautiful LED screen?
No, I want the best. I'm not saying I don't want the best, but when I see the same slide projector being charged for every single day, and then being charged to be moved to another room, I don't get the pricing.
So you're probably thinking in your mind, or maybe I should ask the question and get your reaction. If we flipped the pricing around and we said, let's look at this from the perspective of number of attendees, because that seems to scale well. The more attendees, probably the bigger production it needs to be. And if then we rolled out the buffet line and said, okay, now that we've got that pricing behind us, what will it take to make your meeting a success? Would that be, in your mind, the beginnings of a better model?
That would be much better than what we've got right now. I mean, I would have to fully understand the whole program, but I think it'd be much better than what we've got right now.
So, Patrick, at the end of the day, though, when something goes awry, and it doesn't mean there was anything wrong with the show, but let's say in your example where the pricing was just super high and astronomical, and who got that phone call, right? It was hotel staff, right?
To be all transparent, 9 times out of 10 it goes to the catering manager or the sales manager. And then the time it comes to me, it's when they have to write it off or when there's an issue. Otherwise, as a normal business, people will try and hide as much as they can from you. And nobody wants to be there to be the bearer of bad news. And people have amnesia so quickly in our industry. The impact here is when we make a mistake, the mistake is big.
Do you think there's opportunity to standardize when there's a balance of price? So earlier you said people had sticker shock, but they want what they want. So what if there was a balance to say, hey, we're going to set this room up in a very nice, elegant way. Things will be a little fixed, but it's predictable, it's modern, and it's not astronomically priced. Do you think there's an appetite for that?
I definitely think that that's something that could be considered and would be welcomed. I definitely think when it comes to pricing, that'd be far more attractive to somebody than how we do it now with just a menu and you just go for it, a la carte.
What if the sound system that actually is in the ceiling was enhanced to the point where you wouldn't need speakers on sticks? What if the projectors and screens with the black pipe and drape in the front of the room went away and it was an LED canvas that could actually be different for every customer, or it could be separated, or it could be put together into one, 60 or 80-foot solution? What if some of these elements, even including lighting, with intelligent lighting, has the ability to move anywhere you want? It could be used for social events as a nice, colorful breakup pattern for the room. It could be then swung around in the morning for a keynote speaker at a podium and do some podium cross lighting. So, looking at it more from a permanently installed perspective, the goal here, of course, is to stop the nickel and diming and bring a fresh new technology to the ballroom, where the technology blends into the background and the customer still has an awesome event, and there's less focus on the gear and maybe more focus on the production is what I'm getting at.
Listen, I think if you do that, you've got a winner. I mean, what is the speaker's biggest fear? That the microphone doesn't work. Well, that's their biggest fear. And then when you think about everything you put behind them, when it comes to sound checks and God knows what else that you have to do, and you have to set that up every time. I mean, I'm sure that there's a way that you can put something permanent in. Yeah, it would cost a bit of money up front, but I think it would pay back dividends. And second of all, the damage. That's the other side that you've got to look at, and that's how you've got to sell it. I mean, but I think, if I was still running this hotel, I would absolutely want to pioneer into that next level, because I think that's where it's going to go. It has to go. Has to go somewhere. It's not going to go going now. So what's that somewhere? That's what you guys are the geniuses for. No, but you think about this stuff. The worst thing for a general manager is to have to worry about audiovisual. Our biggest worry is how much they charge you, because that's the customer's complaint.
Yeah, and ultimately to repeat what was said earlier is that charge is also losing you business on other fronts. So it's more important than people know.
I mean, I just think of the police. They could quite easily go to a hall. It'd be much cheaper. The food would be cheaper. Everything would be cheaper. And they've been coming here for 30 years. But that was the first time I ever heard them complain about something. I don't know if it's because they're giving me the award, which they are. It's $10,000 for the screens. I don't know what their sort of the underlying thing to me was, but it was a sticker price for them.
I think ultimately what we're looking to do, Patrick, is to remove the friction. Because again, today, from a hotel operator's perspective, you own the food and beverage, you own the carpeting, you own the chandeliers. You're managing that asset from that perspective. Why perhaps shouldn't you also manage AV as an asset? Why should there be a vendor versus actually having somebody that sits as a department head or on the management committee or whatever makes sense as an advocate, helping your sales team sell and provide a solution that the customers just rave about ahead of the competition? We're really looking to give you a competitive advantage in the marketplace for those early adopters that might go with a program like the one we're describing.
Listen, I've always wanted to have my own audiovisual company in the hotel, but I'm not the person who knows what's the technology or the technical skills I need to hire. But absolutely, I would prefer to have my own work crew and work with them as opposed to having a third party come in. But the pricing is the killer. And if we don't do something about it, it will cost us a lot of money.
If there was a company that checked all the boxes, let's say we permanently install the equipment. Let's say that there's a new pricing model that organizers just adopt overnight, and there's also a way to have the founders of the industry act as management to be able to lead, guide, and direct to a successful organization and implementation with all of the right people and training programs. If that existed, what's the one thing that someone sitting in your chair that you'd like them to hear from this conversation?
And I think one is you've got to go in with an open mind, because now you're changing the model. And we all want change as long as it's not happening to us. And I've gone through this so many times. I've listened to people come with some batshit crazy ideas on stuff to do, and you roll your eyes. But I think as I've gotten older, I've tended to listen more and open the horizons a bit more to say maybe it can work. Or if I put everything behind it and put all the energy there, 99.9% of the time, it does work. The only reason most things don't work is because somebody doesn't want it to work. It's like better. If you want to be sick, you will be sick. If you want to be better, you will get better. It's all, to me, it's mind over matter. Open your eyes to new horizons, new things, new innovative things. I think of that round ball that we have in the lobby of the hotel. And when that thing went up the first time, everybody thought, what the hell is going on in the hotel? What a stupid thing to put up in the hotel. I remember the flack I got for it when it went up. Today, everybody comes and wants to know where they can get one. Most of you have to sit in the hotel for a good year before people start taking real advantage of it. Because nobody believes it. Nobody believes it's there, what it can do, what it can. And I think, but everybody thought that of the Sphere in Las Vegas. And now everybody wants to be there and to see it. And so I remember in Chicago, they were coming to Chicago with the magic show. And it cost $90 million to put a magic show at where the old Lowry's restaurant was. Well, now the thing is opened, you can't get in there. And they haven't even marketed it. And so when you speak to just a layman in the street, they'd say, what a stupid idea. And it's the same in audiovisual. It's the same thing in a hotel. Everybody wants it, but nobody wants to take the first pioneer step. And I think the first person who does it is going to be leapfrog ahead of the competition.
Patrick, your insights to the industry are absolutely invaluable, and I wanted to thank you personally for spending time with us today on the show. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
And if you enjoyed this episode, share it with someone in hospitality.
Because this shift is happening now.
Follow, subscribe, and stay part of the conversation.
And if you want to learn more about what we're building, visit amsishospitality.com.
Thanks for listening to Full Resolution. We'll see you on the next episode.